Got my linen thinking cap on.
You do. Your driving cap. It's a linen driving cap.
This would be my driving.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Correct.
This would be my conductor's cap.
But dry sourdough salt bread, as you can see, is very flat.
No visibility. But I reach down. He's just sitting there. Oh my God. Thousands of miles I journeyed to find you. Beautiful little megalodon tooth. Look at, he's perfectly gonna fit on a necklace.
He's beautiful.
Oh, be a stone of testimony. Yahoo is so faithful.
So good.
Oh, merciful.
The water just calls to her. Oh.
I'm tortilla pressing my tortillas.
Have you done a lot of these before?
Yes, lots of Occult.
Yeah.
We're driving. We're driving.
There's
on
another
the
one.
road.
There's another one. Another dead hog. Oh,
We found so many dead hogs.
number 25.
Alright, we ran the fogger. Just sprays of mist everywhere. Gonna get everything fogged out. This is crazy!
This is where our journey with Bessie ends.
The end of the road. Right here.
The road right here for the
She's
old
been good.
Tropical. She's been good to us.
But boy, she looks how I feel.
She is tired girl. Bye, Bess.
I want to pick.
This is Chelsea's hard-earned lessons from the road.
Oh, apparently I'm the only one who learned any hard lessons. Well then.
Top of the morning to ya. Hey, I got Chelsea, and we're hanging out. We thought we would do the one thing that we always said we would do, which was give you guys our synopsis from the road. Chelsea, in preparation, has filled out pages of a notebook. She's so prepared. She's definitely a grade A student, and she had lots of preparatory work.
Well, the mom brain is just, sometimes I just gotta write it down or I'll forget it. I have to, the little notes app in your iPhone or whatever. Man, I use that all the time. I'm always like, oh, put it in a note or I'll forget. Seriously. There's so much going on around here on a daily basis. It's kind of cray between the squirrel Arthur, between Jubilee and Naomi doing stuff.
Tell people about the squirrel.
Babies running around screaming. One falls down, one gets hurt, one's wailing. I go over to this one, then the other one's got a colored pencil. He's coloring on the floor. I got to go over there and stop that. And then Naomi needs something, then Jubilee needs something, and then I forgot I was baking bread, and then I run outside and I'm trying to not burn my bread that I'm making. Anyway, it's like that. And then I'll be like, I'll have a little moment and I'll be like, I need to order that on Amazon. I better go put it in my notes because I can't do it right now. Okay. Anyway.
So that's why she has notes. It's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's like that right now. It's really rowdy. It's rowdy. Things we didn't expect. Hey, it was also very rowdy when we were living in an RV. For those of you that didn't know it and you've jumped into our story well after the fact, we lived 4.5 years, very full time in an RV, a rectangle.
Felt like we lived many lives during that short yet long amount of time to live in a very, very tiny space.
The old man of her and I and woman of her died in that RV.
Wilderness.
Or just skeletons crawled out of that place, y'all. We barely survived that thing.
Pack up.
Backing up again.
The Reynolds are rolling again.
The Reynolds are
Well, the Reynolds are... There's not much rolling now. There's no more rolling now. We no longer have an RV. We sold her off for scrap. She gone. We said goodbye today.
She looked so sad. She didn't even look like our home anymore. Like she just looked tired. Like how we feel.
She looks like how we feel. I'm telling you, she's all worn out.
Oh, Bessie! She was sitting parked next to all these new.
She can't find her pants, so I let her run my pants.
Oh,
That
wow.
was nice, May. Yeah, go ahead, have some.
It's a long day.
I'm hungry.
We drove many, many hours, and we said goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Too many hours in the car for
Too
a
many
pregnant
hours.
lady.
Bye-bye.
She's ready to pop. Maybe. She wants to be. But instead, we pack and we prepare to relocate. Back on the,
Run.
no, really, rental
The baby keeps
life.
punching me.
Baby keeps punching Chelsea.
I think the baby wants to come out.
Baby wants out.
I want the baby to come out.
She wants that baby out. Oh, the life of a sojourner carries on.
It was so good, though. It was wonderful, but it was horrific at times, too.
Some of the best and most challenging times of our lives. I wouldn't trade it for anything. We learned
good.
so much. We learned so much. And it was seriously, it was the adventure of a lifetime. I mean, it was crazy, but it was very, very
My first shot.
adventurous. Sometimes
She-
you didn't even know where you were going to sleep that night. Many nights.
We fall into that category of like ready, fire, aim often when it comes to planning and preparations. And we're like, we're going to go and stay at this campground. We've got 3 nights booked there, and that's it. That's the entirety of our future that's mapped out at this point. You want to talk about the Reynolds like 1-year plan? It was like, how about what are we going to do by Thursday? Because that day's going to show up. We're going to have to roll out of here. And we got nowhere to go. It was like that very often,
And then we'd go on Google Maps and I would just be searching campgrounds. And then I'd go on all these other weird little, like,
Tell them.
I don't even know. Like, one of them, I think it was called Campendium. I don't even know how to say it. But I would go on that website and they would have all kinds of different, anything from like free boondocking spots to national forest spots to campgrounds, RV parks, just different things, and I would just go on there and or just we would just look on Google Maps a lot. And we would just try to search and search and search. And then sometimes you'd call a place and they'd refer you to another place and they'd refer you to another place. And I don't know. We would just find these little, I don't want to say hole in the wall places. Some were not, but some were just absolute gems. Like total little gem mine in the middle of nowhere. Nate, well done. I am so pumped. This site was
You're not as pumped as these jacks are about to be.
this site was $20 with full hookups. How is that even possible, Nay? How's that even possible? And we just ended like the Laura Ingalls campground. We love that one.
That's great. Mansfield, Missouri.
Yes,
Mansfield, Missouri.
Mansfield, Missouri.
Highly recommend it.
Now
I
that
loved it.
We stayed there multiple
great
times.
deliverance.
Yes. Ones like that, where you just stumble onto it and then you call them and they only have one spot available and it
Hey,
happens
right
to
over
be
the
the
cave.
very last spot in the row and you literally
Ain't that
have
interesting?
the entire
Chelsea, it's going right over the cave.
open field. You have the quick access to the laundry, the little laundry, what was it
True.
called?
Are
Like
your
laundry and
baths out?
bathhouse like area, and then the park. It was amazing. It was like a dream site for us with small children. It was perfect.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a very nice spot. And it was a place of restoration. It was one of the last spots that we stayed in on the road.
Owned by believers who had a crazy, missionaries, crazy testimonies of how they were literally praying over a man in the RV park that he would come back to life because his heart had stopped and he came back to life. Stuff like that. Just amazing people, super sweet people. And they totally helped us out when, remember that horrible freeze came through?
Oh, yeah.
And we lost power, remember? And anyway,
I was having inverter issues. Inverter.
it was a
Yeah.
snowstorm.
It was a snowstorm, and it got down to like -20 air temperature, and then just ferocious winds. And RVs, y'all, are not. Let me just be one of the hard, honest. Let's just be super gritty. Kick you right in the teeth of honesty moment. RVs are generally not made to be lived in outside of 3 seasons. Okay. Very important. They're really ideal to travel towards more conducive weather climates because they get so hot in the hot times and then they get so cold in the cold times. And we had like one that had underfloor heating.
It's a
We had
big
like,
moment.
we bought a much older
Bessie's
RV that
never
was like a
been in
top of the
snow like
line
this.
in its
Sweet
heyday.
girl. It
You
wasn't
know,
even super
had to get
old.
up
It
on
was
the
like a
roof
2006.
2007.
Basically
We
what
bought
we
a
got. I agree
2007 and
off
it
of
was
Bessie.
made by a company called National.
Just so much
And they went out of business. Like a lot of the RVs, just so you guys just random backscatter of history, because I'm always a fan of it, is RVs used to be made at a much different quality level back in the, boom of the 2000s, early 2000 periods between then and 2007, 2008, when a lot of the RV manufacturers went out of business, especially the smaller ones. And during the crisis and the financial bankers bailout time frame, remember all that stuff? Oh, we could get lost in the weeds. I won't. But it was our RV was one of those companies that got at the top of their line, top of the time. And it was awesome. And it was made well, like made by people that cared about people and making something work. So I was very
Actual wooden doors on the cabinets, like wooden cabinets and wooden like molding and real metal faucets, which you know what I'm talking about if you live in a kind of a
trailer.
travel trailer or cheaper maybe motorhome or something like that, but they have these chintzy plastic
We break them.
plastic faucets and knobs for
We broke a
your
lot of
sinks.
stuff. We
It's
broke a lot of
crazy.
stuff.
But everything was metal knobs on the cabinets, metal everything, wood everything, and we had real tile floor.
A small section. A
in
small
the
section.
motorhome, which actually I would have rather not had that because we broke so many bowls, so many beautiful. I really love pottery mugs. I really love. This isn't even like this is
the $5 special because we break them all.
$5 ceramic mug because I just can't spend that kind of money on mugs anymore because we break them too much. And I had one of my favorite mugs that you bought me. And back in Colorado, and it had a dragonfly on it, and it was a pottery, and it was a beautiful mug, and it was like my little precious mug, Of course, I broke that on the tile floor. It fell out of our dish drying rack because you're living tiny, and you have a really tiny dish drying rack, and you still have a mountain of dishes, so you were piling it all on this tiny little dish rack, and it's all carefully balancing precipitously over the tile floor. Anyway, needless to say, we lost many a mug on the tile floor. But let's
Pull out your list. Let's get on target. Hey, you know what cured that though was Mennonite metal plates and dishes. Lindy's, that's the brand. Save your life. Get the deep bowl plates. That's all you need.
Ruggedize your life.
I'm serious, y'all. Stainless steel. I got buffet trays from like catering trays that got like a middle area for sauce. And I tried to get cafeteria ones, and Chelsea threw a fit about it. She was like, no way. We are not doing cafeteria prison plates. And I was like, we got children. They break everything. But anyways, Lindy's for what it's worth. But the higher quality RV made a huge difference for us. But still, wintering in that thing was savage. And wintering in that thing while burning propane releases moisture at the same time, which increases your condensation, which increases your likelihood of getting mold, which was the end in the cataclysm of our RV life. So the only people we know that have been more successful in navigating the whole wintering in it, put wood stoves in their RVs or their travel trailers or their fifth wheels. Game changer. It dries everything out. It's just got to give them that takeaway because it was the end.
Yeah.
It was a hard-learned lesson. Because otherwise, yeah.
All right.
What do you got?
We are going to cruise
get your
through
list,
the
babe.
different points in the
Let's
list
get your
because
list.
Nathan and I, we like to talk. We like to talk a little bit. People who know us, they'll be like, man, they talk a lot. The Reynolds love to talk, and even their children love to talk. And so sometimes during meal times, nobody can get a word in edgeways because there's so many people that really want to say things. Even Pearl and Abraham are starting to squawk in, pipe in. Anyway, so cute. All right. Okay. This says, talking about, oh my gosh, this is so hilarious. Memoirs of a motor. This is funny. Okay. Do we want to talk about travel dreams versus the reality of sojourning?
Hit it.
So I watched many, many, many of those YouTuber vlogs that were RV vlogs, and I watched them for years. And they were always had this cool music in the background and just drone shots, and they're always going to the most amazing places, and they're just traveling and experiencing all these things. I mean, I've always kind of like deep down like wanted to travel like around not necessarily around the world, around to different countries, but like definitely the United States has plenty to offer. So I wanted to travel my own country plenty. And so I've always kind of had a little itch to travel. But I also grew up in Colorado and just thought Colorado was amazing, and that I really, I had been to different places like Hawaii and Florida and Mexico, and but I was like, you know what? I don't know. In the United States, I feel like Colorado's the best. Coloradoans are a little arrogant. The high mountains, the Rocky Mountains. Nobody gets.
I ski at Vail. I ski at Aspen.
Yes,
It's some of that.
yes.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of snootiness,
Now,
that hoity-toityness.
It is unbelievably beautiful. Okay, it is very
Chelsea likes
beautiful,
to
but it
highlight
kind
the
of goes
stop
like all
sign.
that high
I like to
high
highlight
altitude
the
kind of goes to your
14,000
head.
foot mountain behind
They're
it.
high all the time.
Yep, and you are a little prideful about your state, and you, especially if you're a native, and you just what could be better than Colorado? But anyway, I did always want to go check it out, and when I started seeing this RV life and this traveling around, I was like, yes, that's the way to do it. Like, I always liked road tripping. Nathan and I road tripped when we were dating to California. We had an amazing time. It was amazing, and that's where you first showed me the tide pools and all that. And anyway, we had always been wanting to go back even after we were married. But anyway, life is busy, and you'd get a couple.
We were debt slaves.
Yeah, you're slaves
We
to
were
the
slaves to
system.
the
And
system.
you're just like, okay, you get a couple weeks off, like maybe 3 weeks off a year total. Or and kind of maybe broken up, and so you can take a 4-day vacation here, or maybe a week vacation some other time, but like you're not gonna really, you can't really road trip like that. And anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, you live it, like you live the road trip. Like, this sounds fun. Anyway, I watched all these vlogs, and it just looked so amazing because a lot of them just showed the amazing stuff, like the highlight reels. And so I was just like bought in hook, line, and sinker, and just thought it would be like the best thing ever. And especially while we were living in our very occult, crazy state and a crazy neighborhood at the time, which the father was literally lifting up the veil, and we were literally seeing. He was like, here, we were wanting to leave. We were begging to leave. We wanted to leave. We wanted to move up into a retreat into the mountains. We wanted to go have a little prepper's cabin and just seclude up into the wilderness, up into the mountains, and never have to come, hardly ever have to come back into the city again. I mean,
Or never come back.
we just kind of wanted that, and we prayed, and I was on realtor.com every night looking for different properties and finding different off-grid cabins and things, and really looking. And then I was really praying one night because I just still hadn't found anything, and I was like, oh Father, please let us leave. Please let us leave. We just want to move. And he was like, now is not the time. And I was like, oh. And then you came home, and I was like, well, I got to tell you, I've been on realtor.com again, and I prayed, and I felt like the Father was like, now is not the time to move. And you literally said that you prayed the same thing, that the Father would let us leave, and that he would let us move into an off-grid cabin, and that he would provide the perfect place for us on your way home from work. And he said the same thing.
Same thing. Same day.
So that was kind of double confirmation that we were stuck. And so anyway, but now, hindsight, we realized that like there was many reasons why the Father kept us there, because he wanted us to see what was going on, all the hidden evil that was going on all around us in that neighborhood, in that area at the time. And he just peeled back the veil, and we were seeing it in plain sight. I mean, we were seeing black shadowy figures assembling power cones on near Halloween. And, you and John Pounders went and knocked it down, and then you knocked it down one other time, and they rebuilt it 3 times. And then this beautiful wind blew in that night on Halloween night, and it was hot. I remember it was a hot wind, and that's usually kind of rare on Halloween. Usually it's very cold, icy cold on Halloween, or it's just dreary and drizzly. It's just like usually a cold, miserable night. But it was hot wind, and it just was, we were just out driving and praying, I think, and it was just blowing so hard, and I was like, go to the power cone, go to the power cone, I bet it's blown over. We went down, we went over there, and it's just blowing and tumbling down the street, and we're like, yeah, I knocked it down, hallelujah. We were just like, that's amazing. Like, it was so cool. So it's like the darkness would try to reassemble it, you know, to try to keep concealing their wicked works of darkness, and Yahweh had the final say, and he knocked it down on Halloween. So that was pretty awesome. Anyway, I am getting off topic. Anyway, we really wanted out. I was really enjoying the travel life vlogs and getting all into them. And I just wanted that so bad. And I think it was part of my escape too. I just was like, we're living in this crazy neighborhood. We're seeing all this crazy stuff. We're going through some of the most crazy spiritual warfare at the time that we had ever gone through. And it just was a very, very difficult season, very like oppressive season. And I think too, just watching these RV vlogs, I was like, oh man, Father, like if you let us leave at some point, like I would love to just get in a motorhome and just cruise out of here and just go and just go and explore. And anyway, after living in that home for 7 years, the Father finally granted us a release to leave. We sold our home. We had been living in that home for 7 years, married for 7 years, and we felt like it was the year of release. We did feel like it was like a jubilee year. We listed our home and sold it, and actually were able to have some money to fully pay off and buy the motorhome with that. Instead of just putting it into another home as a down payment, we just paid off the motorhome and took our home on the road. The reality of the vlog life versus what sojourning is really like are two very, very different things. And that little I don't even know what you want to call that, but that got destroyed pretty quickly on the road.
Like just trying to navigate my first drive ever, because you can buy a gigantic RV, no permit, extra licensing experience as the driver side of the equation. We bought it out of state, private sale from like a nuclear scientist. He literally sold this thing to me on like switchbacks up this ridiculous little mountain community that he lived in. I had zero experience driving anything like this. And I was like, could you, after I bought it and all the rest, I was like, can you help me get it out of here? He's like, oh, you own it now. No. I was like, what? Like, it was like precipitous cliffs and switchbacks. And I was like, okay, could you at least get it out of the driveway? Because he had these narrow gates. And he was like, oh, I'll get it out of the driveway and that's it. I was like, okay. He got this thing on. He got the thing onto the physical road top for me and was like, see you later. And I was like, oh, let me just put in Google Maps. How long is my drive back up to Colorado? And I'm like, it's 12 hours. Sweet, honey. I'll see you by dinner. It took me 45 minutes to get out of his little neighborhood driveway thing. And I'm all like exhausted. And then I get on the road and I experience wind. Oh my gosh. You know what they never show you in the vlog? The guy sweating his face into the earth and praying continually because he's being blown like this.
You're driving a giant box down the road that's catching the wind like,
and you're catching it sideways. It's never a tailwind. I drove this thing all over the country multiple times. Never got a tailwind. Figure that one out. It'd be like, I'm going to take a turn to just try to get some tailwind. And it'd be like, turns the other way and hits you directly in the face cannon. You're like, dang it. That was one of the most exhausting and stressful experiences of my life. And it was
really
like,
feel for the semi drivers.
I've never been more of a dude. All I ever want to do is help out the homies on the big rigs, bro. I'm like, bro, I got you. I've blocked little cars for them on the highways, man. I am their tiny little advocate now in a minivan in my little car. I'm like, I got you, bro. Bro, I've been there. It's insane. You have no idea unless you drive something like that. But it changed me forever. And I'll tell you what, it took me like 18 hours to get up to Colorado. And I was like, I got out of there and had traffic for the first time and experienced stop and go traffic with this gigantic, 30,000 pound machine coming down the road, and you're trying to stop and start and stop and start. And I was like, this is absolutely nothing like what I expected it to be. And then she's all like waiting at home, like ready. We are living in someone else's basement. Praise you. We love you, Jeremy.
Yes.
You hooked us up good,
Thank
man.
you.
We needed somewhere to live while we were waiting for our house to sell and somewhere else to live. And this guy took us in and was like, you guys can stay in the basement. Little did he know, man. It was savage. But I pull up in this gigantic RV and Chelsea's just like, wow, it's amazing. It's so nice. And I'm all like, feel like I just
Wrecked.
died. And I'm just like, I just aged more in the last day than I have in the last 6 months. And I was like,
That's probably really where all our gray hairs have come from.
it sprouted prodigiously on that first year on that road, man. It changed me forever.
Between children and road life, they're
Savage combination. It was nuts. Just let me just say that. The driving experience when you are in an RV, especially a Class A RV, when you are on a highway and there's no trees potentially going to just absolutely cut your top off, it is the best experience there is on the road, especially in the big open roads in America, like in Texas. You're just like, bro, I am a champion. I'm on air riding bag suspension. You're just like, she's fixing a sandwich. You betcha.
You're up so much higher than all the other cars. You're just like, you could see everything. You just feel like you're flying in a big, like, it's just amazing.
Cue the vlog footage of that epic moment. That's when that moment rolls in, versus the moment where I'm just spitting angry and furious and just contemplating drinking myself into oblivion as soon as I park because I'm just so tanked after the end of that drive. And I'm like,
or like we were just reminiscing before we got on here about us death gripping the wheel and the dash as we're going through one of Florida's back roads. We were like, oh, let's go along the coastline. Let's enjoy this beautiful view along the ocean because that's what RV life is about. And we're going along the ocean. Well, then it detours. The road was closed along the ocean. It was closed. And we had to take a detour.
fatal flaw, man. Don't ever trust a detour. Now, hey, listen, things I didn't know at the time that could have saved me tremendously.
Yes.
There are apps for driving big vehicles that you can put in the size of your vehicle and the specifications of its weight, and it will tell you what is a safe and navigable route. Now I have something like a trucker's atlas, stuff that is vital, y'all. If any of you even go down this road, just tuck this away, save you tremendously.
Yes.
Because we would take these turns like down that road. That was one of the most dangerous,
sketchiest roads we've ever been on.
Single most dangerous road. I start driving down this road and it's following like a bayou kind of style where the water comes in on some kind of bayou.
With flooding, this road and area continually floods and gets high water. And then what did it say?
And as you're driving down, it's got the sign and it says no trucks. And I'm like, oh no, no trucks. And it's like low hanging branches. Next sign.
Like 11.
Do not end. Yeah, no. 10-foot clearance. And I'm like,
we're like 14, right?
No, we're 12 feet. We're 11 feet, 8 inches, 4 inches of buffer zone. I was like, I am smoked, dude. There's like a tiny little switchback along the bayou on one side and then just walls of vegetation on the right side.
Why do we care about the low-hanging branches?
Because I have my air conditioners, the most important single things. Dude, I would literally would rather my air conditioners than windows. I'm not even kidding. It sounds ridiculous. I would tape the window closed. I don't care. I just need a right here. That thing got so hot. She would turn on the oven. Okay, we swapped. One of the best decisions we made was we swapped some gigantic microwave thing, piece of death technology that was in that thing. And we put in a toaster oven, an Oster, Oyster.
Oster countertop convection toaster oven. I think it's $100 and it is amazing. Maybe it's
she still uses it to bake our bread every single day.
Amazing. That's the best stinking toaster oven ever. That thing went strong the entire 4.5 years of us just continually using it every day. You can make a full pizza in that thing. It goes up to 450 degrees. You can bake artisan bread in your Dutch oven. It does everything. It's amazing.
My wife is very bonded to this oven.
Well, you don't need a toaster. Okay, so in an RV, you have to be minimalist. You can't have all your different appliances like my toaster, and then I got a toaster oven, and then I got my oven, and then I got this, and then I got this. You can't have all those things, okay? You can have like the Instapot which is your rice cooker, your slow cooker, and your pressure cooker all in one. Okay. It can also make yogurt. It can also make baked goods. It can also do your hard boiled eggs.
Saute.
It can saute. You can do everything in the Instapot. Okay. So it was like the Instapot and the convection toaster oven. You're in there. You
And
don't
the
need
mixer.
anything else. Oh, and my KitchenAid mixer and my mill. And those were my appliances. And my Ninja, my tiny little Ninja blender. We use that heck out of that little guy too.
Still do.
Still do. He's still going strong too. But
Her life lived inside these little totes and containers of spaces underneath like our table, you know, where we sat. That was her grain storage.
everything has its place in a tiny space. And if you start to crowd out that space, something's got to go. Our rule was if we did not use it within 6 months of us being on the like living like this, if we hadn't used it in 6 months, it's got to go. That was literally like the thing. It was like, nope, we literally have not used this in the last 6 months. It's got to go, because everything in your tiny space has to serve a purpose or multi-purposes, and it has to like basically earn its keep, kind of like to be able to stick around. And that's how you stay tiny and stay really efficient with the small space. Anyway.
Those are life lessons that were hard earned, y'all. Like, don't ever forget it. That drive down that little scary, sketchy road was one of the most stressful experiences of my entire life, because there was live oaks, which are super strong, and they drop their limbs down nice and low. That thing, I was like having to swerve directly into the other cars. Like, I don't care. Go into the ocean, son. I'm coming over. And people get the heck out of your way. It was like we got to this section where there was all these live oak branches sticking out sideways, and they had just been massacred by trucks and vehicles. All their bark was peeled off. They didn't care at all. Live oak don't care. They had massacred vehicles, and I was like missing stuff by inches. You know what I'm saying?
Things with the antenna. We were hitting.
You could hear it. I was like just clutching the wheel, just like,
So stressful.
So that's how you age yourself prematurely. You get an RV and you go drive on the back roads, just saying, or major highways of Florida. I had to try to turn around. Man. And I was pulling something at the time, so you can't just stop and turn around and turn. It's a nightmare. It's like 15 minutes of disconnect time. Like, it is a prodigious effort every time you want to back that thing up.
And if you're pulling a tow vehicle and then you're trying to back out in very tight spaces. I remember you were like, back me out, and I got out because remember we had to emergently pull into somebody's driveway, and then we're blocking the road, and then I have to get out because this is another tried and true lesson and has saved us so many times in our rig. What did the guy who sold you the motorhome tell you?
Oh, he gave me some pearls of advice. And the first one was that you always have somebody go on the outside whenever you're backing up. We kept our home in almost entirely untouched. We got a little tiny brushes. People call them Arizona paint lines from little branches as you're driving along and stuff. Little tiny, like, superficial scratches, but we never crashed into anything. But she stopped me many times from stop, you know, full stop. We had, there it is. Good job, honey. We had solid hand signals, and we had a backup camera, which was critical. And it had a microphone on it, so I could hear her screaming. It was real important. That was one of the best things we ever did.
Because when we
I think if you could keep coming straight.
when we first embarked on our very first journey to Ohio, we did not do that. We pulled in, stayed at somebody's place for a while. It had been deluging for an entire week, and we did not get out. So our first time where I'm actually getting out and helping you back out, I should have been helping you back out. I didn't get out, remember, because it was pouring rain. You're like, don't worry about it. I think I got it. Famous last word. And he backed out onto the lawn, and we just sunk into the mud, and we got stuck in the mud.
Episode 1 of Rolling with the Reynolds playlist called Stuck in the Mud.
Well, Nate, what's happening?
Made a poor decision.
Yep. We got stuck in the
Did
marsh.
our best to back out in either way.
Yeah.
Paid dearly for it.
Yep.
It's 28,000 pounds of way too heavy.
Way too heavy. And very marshy back here. Very useless. This is what we got going on this side. There's a lot of rocks and different things over there. And so been downpouring rain for a week. And that's why we're wanting to leave, because our rig is leaking and we're pretty miserable. So we're just trying to leave. And we can't even do that. It's pretty frustrating, but as you can see, the water is pooling everywhere.
Awful.
We-
Awful. No, it took us hours.
In the pouring rain.
The best feature on my RV, the air conditioner was critical. The quiet generator, critical. The jacks. The leveling jacks. I had control of these jacks. Oh my. Those things got me out of so many insane situations, y'all.
Seriously.
They were incredibly important piece of equipment on my RV.
How heavy is Bessie? Bessie was the name of her motorhome.
She was over 30,000 pounds, you
It was
know.
a heavy
And depending on
haul.
how many rocks and linens and knives and bullets I was carrying at any given time, books maybe,
Grain.
There's times I hauled over 1,000 pounds of grain at one point in there. You know, I was like, we're going to a meetup, honey. We're taking all the grain. Just filled the thing with grain. You know, she was a perfect smuggler's rig. I'm just saying, highly suggested. But those were those expectations and things that we were like, okay, this ain't nothing like it. Trying to find places to sleep and not wanting to spend $50 every single night just for a little power and water. Where you're like, okay, so let's boondock. So we spent a lot of time in Walmart parking lots. That was way less glamorous than it sounds. As bad as it sounds, it's way less glamorous. There was only a couple that were epic. The one in West Virginia, hallelujah. One of the best nights of sleep of our entire life was in the Walmart parking lot in West Virginia. Woke up to majesty in the Appalachian Mountains. And we're like, we survived being stuck in the mud and we got out of the death trap that we were in Ohio. Praise yeah.
Yeah, you make her like this. And oh my god.
We're at Walmart. Who knew you could get the best night's sleep in a Walmart parking lot?
You sure can.
And this is upside down.
Yeah, you're silly.
And that's slide down.
Look at, are you sitting in a little nay spot?
It was a miracle.
Yeah.
Anyways, real life expectations, boondocking. It's a fundamental key component of your RV life. And you're going to get real intimate with using Google Maps to look around for areas where it's like, I could probably sleep there and nobody's going to bother me that night, because you're going to get familiar with the cops knocking on your door.
Yeah.
That's a whole other side of it. That's just,
And then you live in places like California, which are really anti-boondockers, and they're anti-sojourners and travelers. And so in every single parking lot everywhere, they have no parking signs. There's no parking, no rig, no overnight parking anywhere, and you will get towed. You will get towed. And the cops
good luck.
really, yeah, they really patrol that. So, you know, anyway, we had to get real creative in California, and we even found some gated communities and kind of sneaked in behind a car and kind of sneaked in and then just tried to park in a gated community, like on a long
Great.
stretch of road, and it worked great, you know. But yeah, I mean, we had to really get really creative in California, because it was so anti. You know, we pulled in the middle of the day to one of their nice malls, and we were going to go in the mall and buy something because we needed something. And we're getting ready to go in the mall, and we hadn't even been parked there like not even 10 minutes. And we already had security knocking on our door and telling us no overnight parking. And we're like, sir, we're here to go to the mall. We're literally going to walk inside. We're going to shop here. Can we shop? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. We went inside, came back out, and then we're like, oh, let's make some lunch before we hit the road. We're starting to make lunch. Knock, 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 knock again. Security again, a different guy. And we hold up the bag. We're like, sir, he's like, are you shopping here? No, we're not parking. We're like, sir, we just went inside, and I like held up the bag. I'm like, we just bought something in the mall. We're just going to make a quick lunch. Like, is that okay? And then we'll get out of here. We're not going to overnight park. But they were so adamant about it. So anyway, California's a whole other ballgame, but I digress. Let's see. What else do you want to talk about?